The island we're sailing past just now used to be called the Grave of the Living, or the Island of the Living Dead. Grim titles given to the island. The reason for this was that it was one of Europe's last leper colonies, the place where people from Greece were sent. This is the island of Spinalonga. You can see where cannons would have fired out at marauding ships trying to attack the ports nearby on the coast of Crete. The island was abandoned. People were taken elsewhere for treatment, but from 1903 to 1957, this was where they had to spend their time. When you came onto the island, you did not come off the island again. Some people died from leprosy, other people just died of old age. Children were born here and never contracted leprosy at all. But now it's a place of abandoned beauty. Wildflowers everywhere in the springtime and summertime. Way back, it must have been a terrible place to spend your time. The lepers weren't abandoned totally, they were supplied with all they needed, flour and so on. Food materials were brought across and very carefully given to the lepers. Things were sterilised very carefully before they came from the island again. If you come now, it's totally different. It's now one of the most popular tourist destinations after Knossos on the main island of Crete itself. So close to Crete. I think if you're a good swimmer, you could just swim it. Nowadays, lots of people come. The islanders looked after themselves pretty much. They had a school, bakers, barbers, and at one stage a cinema and a theatre. One student, a 21-year-old law student from Athens, who discovered he had leprosy and was transferred to the island in the 30s. Thanks to him, the Brotherhood of Spinalonga improved things immensely. He helped organise the painting of the streets white, the cinema and so on. So after he arrived, things vastly improved apparently for the lepers here. There's one story told by one of the guides that only one person escaped from the island, and that was a child, a boy, whose father was the doctor on the island, and his father very carefully smuggled the boy onto one of the boats. The same guide told us that on one of her trips round with tourists, she told that story about the boy, and a young man, or rather an old man I think, an old man put up his hand and said, "Excuse me, I'm that boy. My father got me onto the mainland and he had ended up going to America and making a good living for himself." So that was interesting, somebody actually coming back to the island so many years later. Yeah, if you go to Crete on holiday, it is one of the places you should go to. Join the tourists, stand in those abandoned streets, and if you can find a little place of quiet, have a little think about the plight of the poor lepers there. What life was like for them. And I suppose be grateful that that has been pretty much conquered now. There are antibiotics to deal with the bacterium which causes leprosy. It is a lovely place to visit, but it has its haunting memories. I hope you enjoyed this little visit to Spinalonga, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up and perhaps even subscribe to the channel. You'll find lots of interesting bits of history and places of interest that I've visited over the years. Thank you very much for watching.